Hello and welcome again to Watching Time. Today we're going to discuss one of the new collaborations that Hodinkee, Hodinkee from New York, has done with Swatch for the third time in a row. And the special edition they have just produced, it was last year actually, but time has flown since then with the Swatch group. So let's talk a little bit about Swatch first of all. Uh, I was a kid of the 80s, so I was born with watches during the 80s, and I enjoy a lot wearing my Casios or my plastic watches at the time that were perfect for what I was doing at the time. And the digital time that some of these watches gave me was, it was excellent for a kid, playing with your G-Shocks, not worrying about how damaged it will get. And if I had to think about going into an adventure with my friends while you are a children, Casios were probably the top of my mind at the time. But if I had to think about going to the beach and having a swim, my preferred option was actually Swatch. And Swatch was the perfect solution both for adults and children that gave you a kind of a fashion Swiss-made watch with the technology that was behind the quartz movements that work very well, very nice colors, very nice editions that became popular all around the world. There's something else that we can give credit to Swatch. That Swatch is also responsible of saving the whole watch industry. In a time in which Switzerland producing watches and all the watch companies had a big depression because of the quartz movement, Swatch managed to reimagine how watches were made in Swiss horology, change it back into kind of a fashion watch, but that also had the technology that was available to everyone. Anyone with a little effort could buy a Swatch watch and still have a Swiss mechanism and a Swiss movement that will bring you joy and pleasure. So I can also thank at this point Swatch for getting me into horology, because starting with Swatch, with the Swatch watches, and as a children using them, and as an adult now also wearing them for specific occasions, obviously, has built on my passion of watch loving. Anyway, I have three pieces here that are, I think, quite important for what is going to be the future of Swatch. And that also show the difference in technology. Apart from the normal quartz mechanism, this is the new limited edition that they have produced for the James Bond movie. Obviously, the James Bond movie never came out in the cinemas because of the COVID situation, and we're still waiting for that. But as a James Bond fan, when I saw that they had limited editions for it, I was really happy to know about this. And this particular edition was designed also specifically for Q. It was inspired by Q and its gadgets for James Bond. It actually wears one of the quartz movement that Swatch, I think it's quite noticeable because it's one of the slimmest quartz movements that they have, and they use it in this line that it's the skin iron. And I think it's perfect. The colors are obviously particular, and I think this can adapt easily for some type of clothing if you want to dress it. Also, it's a fun watch. It has an open quartz mechanism. I never found the reason why I would like to see that quartz mechanism, but I can say that I find it funny and it gives you a sense of time. Lacking the second hand, for me personally, it's very important. I don't love quartz mechanism. I have very little watches that have a history behind it that are quartz movement. And the thing that I like less is the movement of the second hand. The tick-tack every second, it just makes me crazy. The sound and how it moves. Yeah, and this is the main reason why I rarely wear any quartz movements. What I like about this one is that it actually lacks the second hand. So for me, it was definitely a go. And it's also an example of how Swatch has innovated and made available to everyone a Swiss horology. Anyway, I will put this aside. Maybe I can do a more detailed watch review later on. But I have two pieces here that are quite interesting. A couple of years ago, Swatch launched the P51 movement, the System 51. The System 51 is the movement that Swatch has developed that it's automatic. It's a totally automatic movement, but at the same time, it's totally machine engineered. This means that the production costs are very low, the quality is good, but obviously you cannot service them. So once the mechanism is gone, it's gone, or if something happened, they have to change it all eventually. But it revolutionized the horology business because it means that you can have very cheap automatic movements with good characteristics and reduce the prices for people to become accessible also to have Swiss-made automatic movements. And I think this is something to notice. The latest innovation that Swatch Group had was the development of the Nivachron spring. The Nivachron spring, which is a titanium-based spring that was developed, if I remember correctly, with Patek Philippe, and they are going to use them also in their watches, is one of the recent innovations that the Swatch Group is going to bring to all their mechanisms in the other areas, like, for example, Longines or Tissot. And the first watch that actually wears the Nivachron, it's this particular model that was produced last year as a launching event, limited edition to 500 pieces. I have done a specific video for it. So if you want to see more about it, please click on it. I will put the link at the end of this video. And I think it's actually there to show you of an important new step from the Swatch Group in developing a movement that is quite unique, accessible, but at the same time full of new technology advancement. Why have I started with the Flymagic as a showcase? Because this was the base that will change and revolutionize even more what Swatch is doing in their movements. And one of the examples is, for example, this specific collaboration they have done with Hodinkee. And actually the System 51 that it's inside this Swatch beating inside, it already has the Nivachron spring. So it shows how quickly Swatch adapted from more or less July 2019 to November 2019, in which this Swatch new collaboration came out, to already implement the Nivachron spring on their watches. Obviously, this collaboration with Hodinkee, I think it's spot on, like other ones they have done with the Swatch Group. This is the third collaboration. It's inspired to the 86. To the 80s, 86 as an inspiration, and you can see the kind of vintage look that it has. I think it's the nicest one from the three that they developed with Swatch. It's again on a limited edition, so even if it was sold only at the Swatch in Times Square, I actually bought it there, and also on the Hodinkee side, right now they are already all sold out. So you will not find them in the official sellers, but you will only find them probably in YouTube, in eBay, or some reselling individuals. It's a normal caoutchouc strap, Swatch strap. The System 51 mechanism is decorated in black in this case, as you can see, with this black pattern, the normal machine engineer mechanism with the Nivachron. The case is a plastic case, black plastic case, normal Swatch case with a plastic glass, obviously. It has Luminova only on the hour and the seconds and the minutes hand. As you can see, the second hand is red with no Luminova at all. Apart from that, it's pretty a normal Swatch. Sometimes I wear two watches actually, so this is kind of my choice for the second watch that I wear in both hands. And it's you know, it's a 100-meter resistant plastic watch that you can actually wind. You can see and hear how it sounds. It's pretty nice. I think Hodinkee has done a good job here, showing these colors using the red and the vintage kind of color in the hours markers. It reminds me a little bit of some Submariners of the 70s, 80s. And I think it's a very nice color interpretation, and a very nice watch. If you like Swatch, I will definitely recommend it. If you're lucky enough to find one of these, I would recommend you to buy it. I think it's a pretty great watch, and congratulations to Hodinkee on developing this kind of collaborations with Swatch. Thank you very much. I hope to see you soon, and take care. Bye-bye.